Get started. Good morning, Albany.
Good morning, Albany. Good morning. Can you
Good
hear
morning,
us?
Albany.
Good morning, how y'all doing?
All right, good, good.
Thomas, good morning, Thomas, and good morning, Aida. Is Elaine there, or will she be joining?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, very good. And good morning, Sharon. I see you as well.
Yes, I'm here, and Megan Anderson is here as well.
Oh, Megan, okay, great.
Great. Good morning, all.
Having been in their seat, it's hard to see.
It's hard for them to see.
All right, good morning, everybody. And I will note that in the absence today of our chairman, William Mulrow, Commissioner Darrell Towns will be our acting chairman for today's meetings.
Great. Now I'm going to turn things over to Jason to take the requisite legal steps to formally open these meetings.
Yes. Commissioner Thomas Maddox and Aida Brewer are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center in the Capitol Building, room 131 in Albany. And I will now ask for motions and seconds to call to order the June 12, 2014 meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, and the State of New York Mortgage Agency. May I have a motion for HFA and AHC?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
A motion for SONYMA?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
As items are presented to each board throughout today's meetings, these motions and seconds will be used unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any board member or director wishes to record his or her vote differently. Commissioner Towns?
Great, okay. Playing these multiple roles today. So the President's report. Good morning, everybody. Housing initiatives continue to dominate the conversation in the political and business communities in both New York State as well as New York City. From New York City's ambitious housing plan outlined last month to possible new housing initiatives addressing supportive, homeless, and middle-income housing, there's no better time to be developing, financing, or building housing here in New York. Here at the agencies, historically, the second half of the year sees a significant increase in activity, and this year is no exception. We have a very large number of deals in our pipeline, and I expect a significant amount of these deals to close by the year's end. We will keep you updated on the housing policy front and expect to have more detail on New York City's housing plan within the next few weeks. With that said, here at the agencies earlier this morning, the Mortgage Insurance Committee approved insurance for 4 projects representing 978 units of affordable housing located in 8 counties, including Erie, Saratoga, Clinton, Oswego, Washington, Delaware, Kings, and Bronx. And today at the Affordable Housing Corporation, you'll be asked to approve over $6 million in funding of 261 affordable units. Of these, 57 are projects located inside New York City, and the remaining 204 are units located in the 15 counties outside of New York City, including Nassau, Suffolk, Cattaraugus, Wyoming, Jefferson, Westchester, Cortland, and Westchester. And as I've said before, I'm especially pleased about these grants as they include money to be invested in projects in counties we don't always have the opportunity to do business in. On the multifamily side today, HFA will be seeking your approval for 3 projects, including a nearly $12 million financing for a scattered site project upstate, a nearly $28 million project in Buffalo, and $5 million financing in Elmira. These projects represent 579 units of affordable housing across the state. Our staff continues to monitor HCR's extended bills pending in the legislature. Our legislation is expected to pass before the close of the regular session, which ends next week, June 19th. We continue to work with Governor Cuomo's D.C. staff on federal issues, including the GSE reform and changes with regard to HUD's fair housing rules. HCR staff has participated in a number of recent industry conferences, NISAFA and Shinny to name the largest. And I'm also happy to report our board tour of HCR finance projects took place last month and was a success. For those members who were able to attend, we hope to schedule another tour sometime in the future. We thought that it was really a valuable experience. And we also look forward to our off-site retreat July 10th for the opportunity for us to have some informal conversations and know that staff as well as Nestor, who's hosting us over at Fordham Law School, are excited and making sure that we have a great day. It'll be an opportunity for us to shape policies going forward. So we're excited about that opportunity. So with that, we'll get back to today's business, Jason.
Okay. And I will now report on committee actions. First, the audit committees for HFA, AHC, SONYMA, MBBA, and TSFC. On June 10th, the audit committees met and took the following actions. All 5 committees adopted minutes. All 5 committees adopted a resolution approving internal audit's procurement audit report. SONYMA adopted a resolution approving internal audit's servicer audit of City Mortgage, Inc. HFA adopted a resolution approving internal audit's mortgage billing system audit report. AHC adopted a resolution recommending the approval of AHC's March 31, 2014 financial statements. HFA and SONYMA adopted a resolution reviewing and approving the independent auditor's report relating to the audit of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. Going to the governance committees, on June 10, the HFA, AHC, and SONYMA governance committees met and took the following actions. All 3 committees adopted minutes. All 3 committees adopted a resolution reviewing and approving various contracts monitored by the accounting department relating to payroll processing services, independent auditor services, GASB 45 consultant services, and administration services for the agency's qualified transportation expense benefit plan. HFA and SONYMA adopted a resolution approving expenditures with temporary staffing by Suzanne Limited. SONYMA adopted a resolution approving a contract with Radian Guarantee for mortgage servicing and reinsurance services. SONYMA reviewed the marketing-related contracts for SONYMA mortgage products. HFA reviewed basic loan servicing agreement with Greystone Servicing Corp. HFA reviewed contracts with the New York State Legislative Bill Drafting Commission, Reed Elsevier Inc., West Publishing, Seisonit Inc., and CQ Roll Inc. for the provision of legal research services. And an information session was given to HFA, AHC, and SONYMA in connection with governance issues, particularly relating to the impact of Dodd-Frank and other federal legislation on agency affairs. For the Mortgage Insurance Committee, met and took the following actions earlier today. The committee adopted the minutes of the May 8, 2014 meeting, recommended for approval 100% mortgage insurance for Linwood Allentown Preservation, Buffalo, Erie County, approved 100% mortgage insurance for New York Rural Preservation in Saratoga, Worthington, Clinton, Oswego, and Delaware counties, recommended for approval 50% mortgage insurance for PRC Monterey Avenue, 555 and 547 East 178th Street et al. In the Bronx, and approved 50% mortgage insurance for the Henry Apartments, Kings County.
Great. Just think that's a typo. The Worthington, I think, is Washington.
Okay.
Great. We will now present items shared by HFA, AHC, and SONYMA. Jason will record the approval of the minutes.
The minutes of the meetings of HFA, AHC, and SONYMA held on May 8, 2014 shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from members and directors.
We will now move to the shared consent items. I believe there's discussion on one item. Resolution approving the AHC annual investment report and review of HFA and SONYMA's quarterly investment reports. Mr. Gooding?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Desmond Gooding. In response to a question by Taxation and Finance, I just want to make slight clarification to the footnotes in the investment report. Taxation and Finance does not act as fiscal agent to SONYMA. SONYMA purchases CDs through the linked deposit program, which is a very limited involvement. Just want to make that clear.
Great, excellent. Further discussion? Not seeing any. Next item is a resolution reviewing and approving independent auditor report. No discussion is needed.
Okay. Now before AHC is a resolution approving the annual investment report, and for HFA and SONYMA, reviewing and approving the audited schedule of expenditures and federal awards, single audit report for fiscal year ended October 31, 2013. Assuming the first and second previously entered for AHC for item number 2, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA and SONYMA for item number 3 on the agenda, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
The next 2 items on the agenda are information items. There will be no discussion unless board members or directors so request. We now move to the next 2 SONYMA action items on the agenda, which were discussed and voted on earlier at today's Mortgage Insurance Committee meeting. They are now up for vote by the SONYMA Board. There will be no discussion on these 2 items unless the directors so request. We will now move on to the votes.
Item 6 is a resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $17.97 million HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Linwood Allentown project, a 10 multi-story buildings in Buffalo, Erie County. Now before the board for approval is a resolution of the State of New York Mortgage Agency approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Linwood Allentown Preservation, 279 Niagara Street et al., Buffalo, Erie County. Assuming the first and second previously entered for SONYMA, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Next, we'll move to item 7.
Item 7 is a resolution approving 50% mortgage insurance on a $21.28 million New York City HDC permanent first mortgage loan for PRC Monterey, 555 and 547 East 178th Street et al. In Bronx County. Now before the board for approval is a resolution of the State of New York Mortgage Agency approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for PRC Monterey, 555 and 547 East 178th Street et al., Bronx County. Assuming the first and second previously entered for SONYMA, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, there being no further items for SONYMA, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the SONYMA board meeting.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for SONYMA, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the SONYMA meeting is adjourned. Our next board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 10, 2014. As Commissioner Towns noted, on that day we are planning an educational session for board members to be held after the board meetings at Fordham Law School on the Upper West Side. We will arrange for travel from here to Fordham after the meeting is concluded, and more information will be provided as we get closer to the date.
Most kind, ladies and gentlemen, good July 4th weekend. Thank you.
Great, same to you.
Take care. Jason, I think the record should reflect that things are really efficient when Bill is not here.
Yes, good to see you. See you, Doctor.
Take care.
See you, Counselor.
At this point, I'll call to order the 35th Finance and Program Committee meeting for HFA, which will be held jointly with the board meeting. Can I have a motion to open the committee?
And
It's your portion.
no, I will also note that Renee Nowicki has joined the meeting via video from Albany for representing the Division of Budget. And can I have a motion to open the committee meeting? Okay. And may I have a second?
Second.
We will use these recorded votes as we move forward. The first item is the minutes of the 34th meeting of the HFA Finance and Program Committee held on May 8, 2014 shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from the members.
Great, so we'll go to the first item, and Ms. Sucker is here to discuss.
Good morning, everybody. We have for the board to consider 3 resolutions this morning, totaling 580 units of housing, all in upstate New York. I think everything we've seen so far this year has been in New York City, just coincidentally. These projects are located in 8 upstate counties and areas we don't often get to do business. And here to discuss the projects in more detail are Brett Garwood and Leonard Grunfeld.
Why don't you just shift the mic a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
This is the New York Rural Preservation. The project consists of the acquisition, rehabilitation of 7 rural properties in 5 counties. Those counties include Oswego, Saratoga, Washington, Delaware, and Clinton. The rehabilitation preserves 218 units of existing affordable housing for elderly or senior tenants and families with incomes at or below 60% AMI in rural communities. Properties are slab on grade with wood frame structures and were built between 1980 and 1993, although they were well maintained, but they will need significant rehabilitation to ensure their continued successful operations. Total hard costs will amount to $47,000 per unit. Scope of work includes items such as new windows, roofs, new siding, insulation, new bathrooms and kitchens, new water heaters, energy efficient lighting fixtures, repairs of sidewalks, parking lots, and other landscaping improvements. All the sites are located in close proximity to schools, parks, shopping, and healthcare, and all the units in the projects will be supported by various rental assistance, including project-based Section 8 vouchers and USDA RD rental assistance. The total development cost of the project is approximately $23.03 million. The HFA bonds during the construction period will be a maximum of $11.9 million. The permanent phase bonds will be $3.85 million. The HFA subsidy loan will be $1.6 million, excluding the accrued interest of $96,000. The CIF subsidy loan, or community investment funds, will be $750,000. The Federal Home Loan Bank of New York loan will be $3.2 million. There'll be an assumption of existing rural development mortgage of about $6.1 million, and federal tax credit equity proceeds of about $5.95 million.
Can I just interrupt for a second, because we jumped a project,
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
case anybody is
When
confused.
she said so many communities throughout the state, I thought she was talking about R2D2 because it's in 5 different counties.
Gotcha,
So
got
I'm
it.
sorry we got
Guys, this is the
confused.
first time this has happened here in 20 years.
So,
Well, I'm glad I could bring something new to the agency.
so do we need you
Do
to
you want us to rewind
reintroduce?
or?
Why don't we finish this one and then we can go back?
We'll jump back.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you need to read the resolution for this one?
We'll back into it.
We'll back.
Okay, thank you. When I-
So the income during rehabilitation is about $58,000. The existing reserves, about $218,000. The deferred developer fee would be $1.215 million. First Niagara Bank will provide the construction letter of credit. SONYMA will provide the enhancement during the permanent period. And First Niagara and M&T Bank will be purchasing the credits at about 95 cents. The ownership will be New York Rural Preservation Associates LP, which will have two co-general partners, including Conifer Realty and Snowbelt Housing Company, a nonprofit organization. The GC will be Conifer LaChase Construction, and the architect is NH Architecture, and the property manager will be Conifer Management. That's it.
Further discussion?
Looks like a great project.
They're very hard to do. These RD projects are very, very challenging.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's hundreds of these types of projects, and this is kind of a model. I guess this is the second one that Conifer's done, but there's a couple more aggregated projects.
And how do you find I mean, this is obviously in multiple counties and multiple sort of smaller projects. How do you actually coalesce them into one one project?
I actually relied on the
Yeah.
sponsor to do that.
It's really the developers that are out there scouting and aggregating projects that make sense from their management point of view and those that they can get, a handle on.
And while that makes sense, then, from a financing perspective, the multiple counties create some hurdles within RD because of the way they consider their rent structure and considering all the different counties. So they're like banging your head against the wall, but we're happy to see this one over the
Sometimes you
finish
break
line.
through the wall. Of your head,
Yes.
so.
That's right.
Okay. All right, and this is item 9 on the agenda, resolutions authorizing financing approval in an amount not to exceed $11.9 million for New York rural preservation, consisting of 7 scattered projects in upstate New York. Now before the committee and board are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Finance and Program Committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution is adopted. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. And now we'll move to item 8, which is resolutions authorizing financing approval in an amount not to exceed $27.5 million for Linwood Allentown Preservation LLC, City of Buffalo in Erie County.
We'll turn it over to Leonard this time.
This is Linwood, Linwood Allentown Preservation. It's part of the City of Buffalo's Niagara Medical Campus and Grand Ferry Commercial Corridor Revitalization Plan. The project will fund the acquisition and rehabilitation of approximately 296 units of affordable housing within 10 buildings on the edge of the Allentown Historic District in the City of Buffalo, Erie County. All of the units will be set aside for tenants with incomes at or below 60% AMI for the Buffalo MSA, adjusted for family size. 9 of the buildings currently have a 20-year half contract that commenced in 2005, and the Linwood building has a 20-year half contract that commenced in 2011. Those will continue onward when the project is refinanced. 9 of the buildings included in this transaction are located either in or just outside the Allentown Preservation District and are on the National Historic Register. They were constructed between 1890 and 1930 and are part of Buffalo's architectural fabric. The proposed work is intended to preserve original elements of the existing facades and replace elements such as entry doors in a manner consistent with the building's architectural characters. All the buildings have received their Part 2 approvals from the National Park Service. Rehabilitation work includes, but is not limited to, for the following for each site at varying levels: exterior facade renovations, restorations, masonry pointing and brick, sill and stone replacement, roof replacement and cornice repairs, kitchen and bathroom upgrades, and/or full replacements as warranted. Patching, replacement, and painting of plaster walls and ceilings throughout apartments and public spaces, repair, restoration, replacement of wood flooring, new vinyl and tile flooring in apartments and public areas, ADA upgrades where feasible, and mechanical, electrical, plumbing upgrades and replacements. The maximum bond amount is $27.5 million. The TDC is approximately $42.22 million. The first mortgage during the affirmative phase will be $17.97 million, which an HFA subsidy loan of approximately $3 million with accrued interest of $270,000. The federal tax credit equity, or low-income housing tax credit equity, will be approximately $9.97 million, with federal historic equity at about $2.76 million, and state historic tax credit equity at about $1.4 million. There will be a seller's note, which is $2.5 million, with accrued interest of $262,500, which will be subordinated to the HFA first mortgage. The income from operations is approximately $1.68 million, and the deferred developer fee will be $2.4 million. Citibank will provide the letter of credit during the construction period, and SONYMA will provide the enhancement for permitted period. Richmond Housing Resources will be syndicating the tax credits. They will be paying about a little over 85 cents for the federal low-income housing tax credits, 90 cents for the federal historic, and 46 cents for the state historic credits. The borrower is Linwood Allentown Preservation LLC. This is their first project with the agency, and the principals include Robert Morton, Brett Fitzpatrick, and Aaron Siegel. They all have extensive real estate experience, and including other HUD projects, including in Buffalo. The general contractor is R&P Oak Hill Development, and the architect is Sieglitz Snyder Architecture. Property management will be Landsman Real Estate Services. Thank you.
Question? Just as a point of information, why wouldn't a project like this be attractive to, say, M&T? Given this is their backyard, how do we think about lender participation on some of these projects, particularly the ones outside of the what I'll call the traditional downstate business zone?
I'm not quite sure I know how to answer that. There are a lot of times where developers will show up to the agency and their lenders are selected because of long-term relationships. I think we have some examples of that in this month's board book. But I think also what we're seeing from city is a real push for CRA investments, and they've just recently expanded their CRA footprint to include upstate New York. But I couldn't say why this particular development team, whether they do or don't have a relationship with M&T. And my assumption is that city made a pretty aggressive push to try to partner with this developer on this project.
I just find it interesting because clearly First Niagara, M&T, given their sort of activity in the acquisition space, would have CRA concerns and needs, if you will, as well.
They do.
So I don't think that varies across some of the majors within New York State. And I just find it interesting that they're not here. And maybe at some point, perhaps even at our offsite, we can talk a little bit about, as we have in the past, how would we encourage certain lenders to perhaps get more involved or to be more aggressive about expanding their developer relationships?
Okay. I mean, we definitely do see M&T participate in our transactions, but, on any particular one or another. But we're happy to talk about it in July.
Jason?
All right. Now before the committee and board are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Finance and Program Committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. And now we move to item 10, resolutions authorizing financing approval in an amount not to exceed $5 million for St. Joseph's Preservation LLC, located at 550 Church Street, City of Elmira in Chemung County.
Hi, thank you. So the third project today is the St. Joseph's Preservation Project. It consists of 66 units of affordable housing in Elmira. The rehabilitation will preserve the 66 units for seniors and persons with disabilities at or below 60% of the area median income. 24 of those units are targeted to individuals below 50% of median income. It's a 9-story building containing all one-bedroom units. The total hard cost will be $3.7 million, which is about $56,000 per unit. And the scope of unit will include replacement of boilers, windows, insulation, Energy Star appliances, light fixtures, cabinets, unit entry doors, flooring, and bathroom fixtures. Additional common area improvements will include new flooring and painting, upgrades to the 2 elevators, and new lighting fixtures. Other improvements include upgraded HVAC control systems, plumbing repairs, repaving of the parking, outside lighting, minor sidewalk work, and repairing the handicap entrance ramp. The roof will be replaced and a brick facade will be repointed. The total development cost is $8.4 million, and we are asking for authorization of bonds up to an amount of $5 million, as well as $287,492 of annual allocation of low-income housing tax credits. One clarification, there is a request for $2.8 million of HTF PIP loan. I think it reads in your book here that HFA is authorizing that. In fact, that goes to the HTFC Board meeting later this month. So just make sure that you are aware of that, and it's, I think, confusing in terms of the write-up, but that'll be submitted for our June 26th meeting, I believe. There is also an existing HTF loan which will be subordinated in the amount of $1.7 million. JP Morgan Chase will be providing the construction letter of credit, and SONYMA will be for the permanent period. National Equity Fund will be purchasing the credits at 88 cents. The ownership will be St. Joseph's Preservation LLC, which is controlled by Conifer Realty. The GC will be Conifer LaChase, and they will also be managing the project. Do you have any questions?
So just 2 quick questions. One, is 88 cents, is that low in this current market?
I think if you look at a statewide, it's low, but in this area, it's pretty rural. Maybe it's a little bit low. It's a pretty small project, but it's not alarmingly so.
Excuse me.
Does it have to do anything with the PIP program?
No, it's just, I think, the smallness.
It's only 66
small,
units.
it's upstate.
And the other question is, I noticed that starting in 2027, the debt coverage ratio goes below 1. I don't know, is that a problem? Is that something we should be thinking about?
I think that's largely driven by assumptions of increases in expenses versus income, and it's hard to project that over a 20-year period. So we rely on our colleagues at SONYMA. We're able to underwrite knowing that that's true when you project, a lower interest or lower increase in as a percentage of revenue versus expenses. At some point, projections start to,
But that's not something that concerns you guys.
Not at this point. Yeah, that's a good way to say
We have a decade, but thinking about underwriting tending to be conservative anyway.
Not at this point.
Okay.
Well, more than 5 years, it starts getting really inaccurate.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Because we trend expenses at a higher percentage than we trend income growth.
Right.
The fun is to go back and look at projects that you underwrote several years ago and see how off your projections were. I mean, it's just impossible because there are too many unknowns.
Great.
Now before the committee and board are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Finance and Program Committee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Assuming the first and second previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution's adopted.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, you're done.
Now we move to the next 3 AHC consent items. There will be no discussion on these 3 items unless members so request. We will now move on to the vote.
John, just one quick question on
sure.
item 13. I may have missed this, but the reporting to the state, and this is probably a question for Jason, just lists each of the board members, and I don't see that I'm in there. I don't know if that's for a timing reason. That's an easy question.
Is there something they haven't told you?
I know.
No, they're telling you
I
now.
take hints very well.
Esther, when were you appointed?
I I was appointed, I think effective July of 13.
Yeah, I think this is as of March, right? This is so it was as of the time period before your appointment to the board.
Okay,
Is this ending March 2013?
Yes.
okay. Easy enough.
Great.
Glad I could help with that one.
Well, I'm happy to be left out, but
I'm sorry, this is Renee. Isn't it the 13-14 Friday?
Yeah, it is. I think he should be.
I think it is March 14th.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I
You've
thought.
been there.
It must be an oversight. We will include it.
Yes, we'll.
I mean, it may cause it to be rejected by the state, who knows? I don't want to cause any problems, but I just want to make sure.
So I see
We'll double
him.
check.
Thank you.
Good catch.
I see him, so it must be some.
Okay, so we have for the AHC items, a resolution authorizing award of grant funds for certain projects, a resolution approving the AHC audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending March 31, 2014, and a resolution approving the AHC Paris filing.
I was just looking down I was looking at the wrong column. Thank you.
And so we'll go ahead and move to the vote. Now before the AHC Board is a resolution of the State of New York State Affordable Housing Corporation authorizing awards of grant funds for certain projects located inside and outside the City of New York. A resolution reviewing and approving audited financial statements for AHC for fiscal year 2013 to 14. And a resolution accepting a filing under the Public Authorities Reporting Information System. Assuming the first and second previously entered for AHC, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried and the resolutions adopted.
There being no further items for the HFA Finance and Program Committee, I'm going to ask for a motion and second to adjourn the Finance and Program Committee meeting.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Okay.
There being no further items for the HFA and AHC boards, I'm going to ask for motions and seconds to adjourn those meetings as well.
Motion and a second?
Motion.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HFA Finance and Program Committee, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the committee meeting is adjourned. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the HFA and AHC boards, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried and the meetings are adjourned. And our next board meeting is scheduled for July 10, 2014 at 8:30 a.m.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.